Today I want to talk about the ability to let go and live. So earlier on I posted around this notion of, the completion cycle, having things that you need to do constantly and without addressing them in either of those four different ways, they essentially remain. And the idea is that when you have things that are on your to-do list, they are essentially things that need to be completed. Therefore, when you don't do them, even if they're not relevant, until there is a form of closure, what they do is they take up space. They take up mental space. They take up emotional space. They take up the room in your life, in your mind, that you could be better using to create something in the world, to take the action that you need, to generate or create the new thought that is going to make you feel a certain way, make you behave a certain way, and make you act a certain way. So I just wanted to kind of talk about this for a little bit, just to kind of give you some tips on how you can, evaluate your life now and figure out what is outstanding, right? What's the debt? What's the debt that you have that is preventing you from moving forward? Because essentially it's going to be difficult for you to create something in the world, create something new, and bring that success into your life because there's no space. And when you sometimes look at your own life, you look at it as if I don't have success, but there's no room for success because you still have are holding on to all of these other things. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So let me know your thoughts on, this, if there are things that you think that you need to let go of, that you think that are taking up space in your mind, and whether any of this resonates with you. So I guess there's kind of 5 key things that I want to talk to you today about what you can let go now and essentially complete so that it is done. It can be picked up, it can be thrown away, it can no longer be thought about, which frees your mind up to focus on other things. Because subconsciously, whenever you don't complete something, there is a part of your mind that stays attached to it. So there are many, many different ways. And for any of you who, and I've recommended this book, but The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. In, I think it's Principle 28, he talks about incompletes. And he talks about the 4 Ds: do it, delegate it, delay it, or dump it. And he talks about 25 ways that you can actually complete things, let go. It's an exercise that I've done myself. And I found it very uplifting and also very freeing because, I was like, wow, that conversation that I needed, that difficult conversation that I needed to have with that person from 6 years ago. It's 6 years, but because I haven't had that conversation, it's taking up space. It needs to constantly keep the room there to remind me that I still haven't had the conversation. Therefore, it's taking up space that I don't need to be using in that way. So the first thing is around business activities. So if you consider things that you are either trying to do for your business, maybe you had a previous business, maybe there's some administration, maybe there's some things that you needed to check out, maybe there's some legal things that need to be resolved. Maybe you need to get insurance. Maybe you haven't closed down an old business account or a business card. Any of those kind of things, if they're still essentially to do, they are taking up room. All right. So if you're in this place where you've got this business idea or you've got a business and you're trying to grow it, think about all of the things that you have done until this point. Have you drawn a line under those? Have you closed the accounts? Have you stopped the membership? Have you cancelled the emails? All of those things, as long as they are still flowing to you, you are using space and you are not allowing the freedom for other things to come and replace it. So business activities is definitely one of them. Another one is actually unkept promises. So have you said to somebody, and even yourself, to be honest, have you ever said, You know, oh, I'm going to do this thing, I promise. And then all of a sudden you've tied yourself to yourself or to somebody else. And until you're able to meet that promise, you will always be attached and tied to someone else or something else. And again, subconsciously, you will always be using your energy and your mind, your emotions, whatever it is, to remain attached to that thing because you have promised and you don't want to break your promise, but you have an unkept promise. So that means that you will always have this outstanding thing to do. So have a, sit down and really think about, what have you promised yourself? What have you promised other people? And have you fulfilled those things? What is preventing you from fulfilling your promise? Whatever it is, get it done. Because again, until you fulfill your promise, you will remain attached to the promise and the person that you promised it to, even if it's yourself. The third thing is around unpaid debts. Now, this one is really, really important. So you've got credit cards, you've got bills, you've got people that you might owe money to. You have letters coming through the door of other, fines and all of those things that you may have been given. And for all of those things, until they are cleared, could be a loan, until those things are cleared, you're attached to them. They're classified as incomplete. So it's important for you to sit down and make a list of, where do you still have debt? It's going to be difficult for you to get new money when you still owe old money, right? So the new money is being blocked because you still owe money. So the idea is to try and minimize the amount of debt that you have and make it so that one is less, maybe two, that it's consolidated in some way. So instead of owing so many different places, you consolidate that debt and you just have that one debt that you need to pay. Put in a plan into action to constantly clear that. Even if it's like £5, $5, €5, whatever, a week. Whatever it is, there needs to be some sort of plan of action for actually minimizing your debt. And then again, where, some of you, we all struggle with the kind of money blocks, money mindset. And so again, a lot of that comes from this scarcity or this lack. We already owe so much money, right? We owe here, we owe here, we owe here, we owe here. So when we're thinking about how we move our businesses forward, we're already thinking from a deficit. So then, whether you believe it or not, everything you do comes from, to a degree, a place of desperation. I need to have the client. I need to get paid because I have all of this debt in the back of my mind that is outstanding and needs to be completed. So the quicker you can get your finances in order and start minimizing the amount of debt that you have, it frees you from the attachment of the debt, which severs that chain and allows you to think forward and attract that money into your life. Energy, it's about what you're emitting and what you're receiving. And so if you're looking at money as something as from a perspective of commitment or an exchange of service, that's all it is. But when you come from a place of lack, scarcity or debt, you look at that money as a need to fulfill something a deficit that you have. And so this will help you greatly in terms of how you view money and how the energy that you bring around asking for the money comes up. The next thing is clutter. So how much clutter do you have in your home? I actually remember there was a time, I think it was about 2-3 years ago. For whatever reason, I was kind of in the process of maybe doing some decoration or something like that. And I had to bring so many different things into my room. Now, as the place that I sleep, I found that my sleep was very much disturbed. And I started to notice a trend. Anytime I'm in a room that has too many things in it, too much disorganization, too many unused items, it creates physical clutter, but it also creates mental clutter. It's like a form of claustrophobia. So when you're in a place which is just disorganized and chaos and all of that kind of things, that translates into how your mind works. It's more difficult for you to get focused. It's more difficult for you to make decisions. It's more difficult for you to get clarity in whatever it is that you're doing. And usually it's because of the environment that you're in. So again, consider, how, and it's not about cleanliness. Cleanliness is a completely different thing. This is about clutter. This is about getting rid of the things that do not serve you. And that's physical clutter, that's emotional clutter, and that's mental clutter. Looking at people. Do you surround yourself with people who add to you or take away from you? To a degree, that's cluttering your life with a certain level of energy that if that energy was not there, you could create room to bring in more positive energy, to surround yourself with people who will uplift you and empower you and inspire you to be better and do better. So if you're cluttering your physical life, you're cluttering your physical environment, you're cluttering your emotions because you're not dealing with things, you're allowing the throes of life to attack you from every which way, and you're not sitting with them, you're not acknowledging them, you're not accepting them, and you're not challenging them and trying to create new thoughts, beliefs and feelings. And so all that does is it just continues to add, and it adds and it adds and it builds up. And again, it provides that mental clutter that prevents you from creating room for something new to come into your life. Now, the fifth thing and the last thing I want to talk to you today about is around forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is actually something I teach in terms of the ACT framework, Accept, Create and Transform. For those of you who have been part of Momentum, you'll probably have had a kind of insight to that. And for those of you who have gone on to join my longer term program, Turning Point, that is definitely something that we go into a little bit more detail about. The freedom that forgiveness will give you cannot be compared. When you hold on to something, and especially if it's a grudge, it's a feeling of injustice, somebody has wronged you, somebody has disrespected you, something has not gone right, whatever that thing is, when you hold on to it, you hold on to all of the negativity that surrounds that. So as much as you want to be into personal development, as much as you want to develop, as much as you want to evolve, and as much as you want to grow, when you hold on to things that no longer serve you and you're not forgiving the person or the thing, it burdens you. It distills or clouds your view of the world. And you end up saying things like, this always happens, or that person, or I can't trust, why would people do that to me, etc. And it just creates an ongoing cycle of mistrust and, essentially painting everybody or tarnishing everybody with the same brush. So think about a person that you have not forgiven. Think about a situation that you have not forgiven. Think about something that you have done where you have not forgiven yourself. And write down, what would it take to forgive? What would it feel like to forgive? Because remember, anything that has happened is past tense. And if you cannot change it, there is no point ruminating on it, because what it does is it prevents you from healing and it prevents you from moving forward. And so from forgiveness, what you're doing is you are accepting the situation. You're not saying that it was right. You're just accepting that this is what has happened and it's okay. I can't change it. So I'm no longer going to judge it, and I'm no longer going to judge myself. And if you've been waiting for an apology from somebody, or from an organization, from a person, whatever it is, accept that may never come. And it's okay. Free yourself from attaching yourself to all of those negative experiences, which then allow you to free yourself up to create whatever it is that you want, to create relationships where people are not disloyal, to create a job or a business where people empower and motivate and inspire you, don't put you down. So whatever it is that you are holding on to, it's time to let go. Accept it and allow yourself to create something that benefits you more. So looking at these 5 things, so business activities, unkept promises, unpaid debts, maybe you've got some clutter, or the need to forgive. Consider these 5 things and prioritize them, and create some time to actually sit down and figure out, make a list under each of those headings: business activities, unkept promises, unpaid debts, clutter, and forgiveness. Make a list of everything and then make a plan to complete. Make a plan to complete. And when you complete them, you free yourself up. You make the space. You create the space for success to come to you. You create the space to be more innovative, to look for solutions rather than focus on problems. You create the space for more positive people to come into your life. You create the space for more ideas to come into your mind. You create the space for action to be taken. And action is where everything lives. Thought doesn't mean anything. Action will show you exactly what it is. And so the quicker you can get into action, the quicker you can realize your dreams, your desires for your life and for your business, and also for others who are around you. And just by being someone who is not holding on to all of these things, you will automatically start to inspire and empower other people around you. The energy you give off will be noticed, and it will potentially help somebody else do the same thing. So I hope you found this video useful. Let me know, what is it that you're holding on to? What is it you think that is, preventing you from taking the leaps and bounds that you want to take with your business? What is it that you're holding on to that you feel you need to hold on to? It's really about letting go and excelling, letting go and creating success. So, hope you found this video useful. Let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you again soon. Take care.